What's going on? It's Justeeni here. This is the Hoodrick World Championship to determine the best Hoodrick player of 2026. And Hoodrick is a very strong tribe, so whoever wins this one has a very good chance of not only making it to Sweden, but possibly winning the whole thing. So, who do we have playing here? We have in the western side hosting this first game, we have Ducks. First time seeing him in grand finals, but he is quite a strong 1v1 live player, so not too surprising to see him in this spot. And then in the east, you can already see Willabomb, which is a name you've probably heard too many times at this point because this is his fourth time in the grand finals, making it once as Imo, losing to Yeti Peaks, making it as Zabasi, losing to myself, making it with Shinji last week, losing to Mixu. But now he's here again, once again trying to prove himself. Can he do it? Well, let's get right into it. So, we see Ducks take a pretty conventional opening, whereas Willabomb decides to go for a lighthouse opening. Very passive start, but it does allow you to go extremely greedy. You'll see in just a bit what this opening allows you to do. So a little bit rough exploration for Ducks, not able to run into a village with the archer. Willabomb, on the other hand, getting his units going. Also slow to expand, but that's kind of by design with the lighthouse opening. Now, both players finally getting to their villages. We see forestry pre-cap as a result of that delayed expansion for Ducks. Willabomb still not having a city captured yet, so Ducks is going to have 3 cities first. Get some upgrades going, grab an explorer to see what's going on, although with the center lake, I'm not sure what you're expecting. Now we see the benefits of this lighthouse opening. Turn 5 math before you've even captured your second city. Only possible thanks to this lighthouse opening. So you get math, and with 3 stars you only need to chop once to upgrade, so your economy is doing just fine. Now we see an explorer, but it also doesn't get the meat, it just barely misses. So kind of just confirming that center lake that both players are already aware about. So kind of just more development, you know, not a lot of interaction that's going to happen for quite a bit. So both players very happy to develop. Hoodrick in general, whenever you can just choose to develop, you will. You know, Hoodrick has a very strong defense, so this sort of a non-interactive way of playing is quite common, especially since you've got very strong market spots. Now Duck's trying to make his way to this village in the center, because that's a very nice foothold if he can get a hold of it. And it looks like Willabom's just going to kind of let it happen. You know, he's got mathematics already. He's going to have such a fast economy. But he is going to train some archers. Maybe catch Ducks off guard. Now we do see an explorer rune, which doesn't do anything. Now organization, that isn't on the way to the typical trade flowchart, but it does still help economically here when you've got all these fruit. And we do see village denial here. This was actually a very nice play. So it seemed like there was no way to deny this, but actually with the giant push, you are able to steal that out of nowhere. So very much catching Ducks off guard. There's no catapult, no archer, no nothing to reclaim that. In fact, Ducks just getting meeting stars. So now we see mathematics. But it seems like Ducks has a lot slower of a situation. Not only Willabomb, you know, getting that more economic start with the slower expansion, but then Willabomb catching up in expansion anyway by taking that city. Now we do see some very nice border growths by Ducks, take up space to make up for that city disadvantage. But we're going to see the classic flowchart, riding roads. Next up is trade, get an absolutely absurd economy, and leverage the city advantage to a win. So it's really just a matter of, can Ducks do anything about this? And it's looking a little bit unlikely at a glance. Now another explorer from Willabomb just to get more vision, grab that lighthouse. Only one more lighthouse to go, but there is a mountain in the way, so you might need fishing or climbing, most likely fishing, but we do see trade first, just to get those markets ready to go. Now Rhodes, Star Ruin, trade. Dux is actually the one able to get that first market, and it is a powerful market, level 7. But Willowbomb, not far behind, also getting 2 markets at level 7. Just doubling the market potential that Dux currently has. Now, Dux, of course, can make more markets, but already it looks like Willowbomb has just got such a strong position here. Another giant from Dux, maybe trying to set up some sort of attack, but again, against Hoodrick, with such a strong defense, especially against giants, it seems a bit unlikely that it's going to go anywhere. But if you don't try, then nothing is going to happen anyway. Now we see some really good market planning here, using those pairs of sawmills to boost up those markets. You know, another pair of level 7 markets and upgrading in another one to level 8. 56 star per turn on turn 12. And that's with just 4 markets. There's still more to go. But Dux is very, very far behind here. He's still playing it out anyway. Doesn't really hurt to play it out, because if you lose, and well, you're just down a game. And if you play it out, you at least have a chance. But it seems to be looking more and more grim. Now we do see fishing from Willowbomb, as expected. Getting that Eye of God, going to allow to get another giant, stealing the city down here, and we can just see the city advantage seems to just be impossible to overcome. Really, the only out for Dux is the fact that this city here is lacking in space because of the border growth from Dux. But now with fishing, trying to get some sneaky juggernauts to get some surprise attack, maybe win a city back, so then instead of it being a 4-8 disadvantage, it's a 5-7. However, we just see population preparing a giant push, and the push does not go anywhere. Well, the push doesn't go anywhere because of Willowbomb's giant push. You get what I mean. The catapults are going to be ready to defend everything, plus the giants. So Willowbomb is just sitting pretty with a nice city advantage. So Willowbomb up 1-0. So very nice start for Willowbomb so far. Can he take it all the way? Well, let's see. We'll go ahead and cut to the next match. All right, game 2, a much different scenario this time. A very, very close spawn, so likely early meets, which can be very dangerous in this Hoodrick mirror match. Both sides even expanding towards each other, although this archer ducks away. And yeah, just to recap, Willowbomb's hosting this game because Dux was hosting it in the last one, so Willowbomb is going to be in the south here. Dux in the west. So now, we see Willowbomb walking towards his village. Both players can see it, but no player knows that the other is nearby. We see Dux step on the city. Now, if he was score counting well, he knows that he shouldn't shoot, and he doesn't. Very strong play. If you shoot, you lose the city. Well, actually, if you do shoot, you are still fine, but you are keeping the city if you don't shoot. So, much better to avoid doing anything like that. And then we see the capture, followed by another archer, the only way to keep the village. Very foreseen line, but you keep the village at the end of the day, and this is a very strong one to have right next to Willowbomb's capital, which is going to allow for some potential archer pressure if Willowbomb himself is not spamming a lot of archers, which is why we see Willowbomb making all these archers explore, getting a lighthouse, seeing a ruin back there, which you might be able to potentially steal depending on how things go, because Willowbomb can't really easily access that. And now we see using that vision advantage to just keep Willowbomb away, get these insanely strong trades. Another archer, and you can see Willowbomb now short on units. And this is going to be very rough to deal with. So we see a warrior and a capital, which is already a sign of desperation. So this is not looking good for Willowbomb here. See now, kind of an unusual side to Hoodrick, but this is something that Hoodrick can do on occasion. Very aggressive plays with the quick archers. You know, you start with archery, and archers can be used to form some very quick assaults. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Very nice trades here, keeping, well, both archers at lower HP. Both of them are alive, but also this one is a veteran. So yeah, we get some snazzy upgrades, and then promoting at the end of the turn. This is a nice trick that you'll see a lot of top players do, where they save their most important things till the end of the turn and that veteran beat one. Now, I would say in this case, Willabom probably was checking vets and knew that this was a vet anyway, so I'd assume it did not catch him off guard, but there is always the chance it catches him off guard anyway. So, yeah, this veteran archer really just allowing the momentum to further be increased. Willabom is able to at least get vision on this north lighthouse. Maybe he can get enough population to somehow get a giant. He's chopping a ton for something. He's getting on the water to explore, chopping more to get a warrior. All of his forest chop, but what for? It looks like he's barely even hanging on. He's lacking units big time despite chopping everything. And Dux is just going to be able to keep turning the pressure up. He doesn't have good vision of Willabom right now, which is why he got that Explorer. So he doesn't know how many units Willabom actually has, and the fact that he just chopped all the force. But it looks like Willabom is trying to get that giant on his capital to save things. Now riding from Dux, again, just keeping the pressure up. Now trying to go for some sieges. Now sailing. What's going to be the big idea here? Get the population growth so close to a giant, just a couple lighthouses away. But Dux just has such strong control, such strong pressure here, and Willabom sacrificing a lot of his long-term potential just to maybe hang on, assuming he can even get this western lighthouse. Shoots the archer here, grabs the explorer. With the sailing, it can go across the water. But it doesn't get the lighthouse, so he has to instead use a port. So he's got nothing to work with except this one giant, and he just resigns because even with this giant, there is no saving this position. Archers are going to pelt away at the giant, and these other cities with no units trained are going to shortly fall. So now we have a tied set, 1-1. Next game, whoever wins it all. Now go ahead and cut to the next match. All right, game 3, final game. So again, Dux hosting this time in the west, Willabom in the south, and we see two very, very different spawns in this case. One very water heavy spawn for Dux, and for Willabom a bit less water heavy. Seems to be leading into some land. So we're going to see two very different styles of play as a result. So Dux having to adapt to a very unusual way to play with Hoodrick, whereas Willabom can kind of take a more conventional approach here. Dux also slowed to get his third city because of this awkward shape. Looks like he's playing an archipelago, but no, this is lakes. Believe it or not. I mean, for Willabom, it almost looks like dry lands. But both players still able to get their villages just fine. Willabom opting to get forestry pre-cap. And now we see fishing instead of forestry, taking advantage of the plentiful fish and also enabling some strong explorers, which we do immediately see, grabbing those immediate stars and maybe getting a lighthouse, except it just goes around, doesn't get the northern one either. A little bit unfortunate. Now, Willabom going for an explorer as well, and it manages to meet Dux, travel through this narrow land bridge, grab the western lighthouse, which is going to be very nice. Just one lumber hut to upgrade, and capital is already upgraded to level 3, and the archers are going to keep Dux out. Not that he was really going to get anything going there in the first place. This choke point is going to effectively keep both players out, but Dux is insistent on losing his warrior rather than retreating it. But Dux is also the first into the water by to no one's surprise. Now I see forestry, then opening the ruin, hoping for math, instead getting spiritualism, which doesn't seem very useful when there aren't many places to plant trees in the first place, and it's just so expensive. Now we see Star Ruin into math for Willabom, a much more favorable ruin, and just very, very strong sawmills. Very quick turn, 7 giant thanks to the resource ruin. Not placing Park of Fortune yet, still undecided on that. But Ducks, on the other hand, close to getting his own giant, but not quite there yet, having to rely more on port connections to get the job done. Now we see another Spiritualism ruin, this time for Willowbomb, but Spiritualism seems a bit more enticing here at least, because planting trees can really fuel these sawmills, unlike with Ducks. However, in both cases, still not what you would like to see. But we do see another quick giant. Willowbomb's got a very fast start, but the question is it going to matter? Because Ducks is looking to just completely take over the water here, and if that happens, this very fast start, which will likely turn into markets, may not actually mean anything, so you have to be very careful here. Also, Ducks just getting so many cities. Willowbomb with only 3, looking to his 4th, whereas Ducks is on 5, looking to his 6th, looking for his 7th and 8th. So it looks like quite the city disadvantage for Willowbomb, but in return he's going to have a very strong economy, whereas Ducks is going to have a city lead. And naval control, we see Matt now. A great idea not only for the sawmills, but also catapults are going to be vital to defend the giants that you can only imagine Willowbomb would have here, but now you can see them, so you don't have to imagine anymore. Now we do see classic Hoodrick flowchart. I mean, come on. Math, trade, the only thing out of the ordinary is Spiritualism ruin, but this really just encapsulates the Hoodrick experience. Turn 10, level 7 market, and there's going to be more to come. Now we see sailing from Ducks, getting a scout, denying that village. Willowbomb would love to be on 6 cities, but if Ducks can keep him on only 5 for the moment, that will be huge. Now we see border growth from Willowbomb, taking up some necessary space, getting some more port spots. Ducks, on the other hand, trying to control the southern area. This is going to be very important, because if you kind of look, where Willowbomb can make water, well, this city's under control, so not really much water there. It's really just these port spots. And if you stop these, Willowbomb can only make it through by this tiny choke point on land, which you can cover with a bunch of catapults. Can't send knights to break through. Also, you can use some ships to guard it as well. So there's just not really a good way to break through besides this southern point. This is where everything's going to happen. If Willowbomb can successfully use these giants to break through, then he's going to have a very, very dominating position. But Willowbomb is looking to make something happen. Ducks making a catapult, though, in anticipation, knowing that this is to happen. Shooting with the catapult immediately, not making a second one, not really much time to do that. Instead, by shooting the catapult like this, it's going to face towards this giant, and then by pushing it, it's going to go back, so it's actually nice and safe anyway, plus getting that free hit. Now we see Workshop here. Unable to get Eye of God. There was actually a chance earlier to potentially get Eye of God. I'll leave that as an exercise for the viewer, because replays will be in the description. But Ducks does not actually get Eye of God this game, despite having an opportunity. And an extra monument could prove to be very useful for potentially holding this defense, which otherwise looks pretty difficult. Because Willowbomb is going to be able to put on a substantial amount of pressure using that mountain to give a defense bonus to the giant, roading in these archers, getting more connections to get another giant. Ducks very outnumbered here with all this sudden pressure. A catapult now to try to get a good position to poke away at Willowbomb's giants. And we do see beautiful Explorer all the way in the back here, able to get Eye of God, getting another giant. And this is what I mean, just this sheer giant count is a huge deal. So Ducks not getting Eye of God is proving to be quite a big issue, because Ducks only has 2 giants, and even after killing one of Willowbomb's giants, still Willowbomb has 3 more, and Ducks' 2 giants currently existing are quite injured, whereas only one of Willowbomb's giants is actually seriously damaged. And on Willowbomb's turn, more damage going to be caused, really weakening these giants. And once the giants go, the catapults and archers and scouts will be very exposed, and there's just so much support. Archers everywhere, a border growth here to just further fuel things. And with all this economy, keep in mind this economy can be used to plant trees to make more giants. So this lead could potentially cascade. If you're taking the southern city, it's basically over. You just get such a strong avenue of attack and immense control over the southern lake. Dux needs to be able to restrict Willowbomb as much as possible. And it looks like Willowbomb is able to get both the Juggernauts next to the city, and Dux has nothing. Plus some more pressure here. Just so many units. An absolute tidal wave of pressure. More vision. Why not? You already have so much economy. A workshop is basically meaningless here. Getting in the water here as well to just cause as many issues as possible because Dux is very limited on stars compared to Willowbomb. Nice border growth as well, just to take up even more space and open up more port spots. We see a bomber from Dux trying to target the support, and then with the riding roads trying to get at these Juggernauts, taking one out, but there's still one giant remaining. Is Dux actually going to be able to hold on here? The Archer sieges, even though it's a much weaker tool to siege with, and the giant instead steps on the force with the defense bonus, but with an Archer and a scout, the bomber is taken out, and how do you unsiege? It's just an Archer, but the only thing that can reach is the catapult. You have to take out the giant and the Archer now, and the giant is a defense bonus. Willowbomb just continuing to develop his economy in the corner at the same time because he has so many stars. He wants more. Classic Hoodrick mentality. You can never have enough stars. Now, there is a scout able to get the unsiege, thankfully, but this giant is still quite a menace here. Is there anything stopping just another resiege from Willowbomb? And also this pressure here. Dux is really losing control of the situation, even though Dux is looking to get trade soon. It might just be too little too late. There's just so much pressure here. It's just continuing to mount. Now it looks like Willowbomb's getting a strong naval control, and now we see ramming an Archer into there. And how do you unsiege? Can you get 2 scouts to reach this time? No, you cannot. Only 1 scout could reach. Dux maybe hoping to get trade or something just to stay in the game, not resigning yet. But all the stars built up from this monumental set of markets seems to be enough for Willowbomb to now get complete naval control, which was the only out for Dux here. And as things keep playing out, it's only looking better and better. And at the end of this turn, after a nice little cheeky little defense, some good old unsieges, just showing that he can in fact actually unsiege everything for now. But then it acknowledges, of course, that this is dead lost. Resigns, which means Willowbomb, 4-time grand finalist, finally proves that he can go all the way. After trying with so many tribes, manages to get one of the best ones, so, you know, things work out in the end for Willowbomb, so hopefully he can make it to Sweden. Hoodrick, a very, very strong choice. But finally his curse is broken. We're no longer going to be just seeing Willowbomb in the grand finals. His story does not end in failure. Anyway, though, hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub, and have a good one.